Hello, Fantastic Beasts fans. Since Crimes of Grindelwald was announced, I've had a few more ideas about that teaser image, and many of you have shared some key details you've discovered as well. So let's get together to explore some more theories. I'm Susan Chapal with Fantastic Secrets Behind Fantastic Beasts to bring you the clues. Join me and other Fantastic Beasts fans here on the Beast Chaser Forum as we uncover the secrets, discover what's coming first, and play along with Rowling's newest game. There's so much to cover that it's hard to know where to begin. So instead of creating one long video, I've decided to break it up into a series of rather short ones over the next few days. And today we'll start with an excellent catch by one of this vlog's followers. Wal Does' sharp eye caught an intriguing flick of the wand from Grindelwald. He commented on my last video, quote, "Just before the Sea of Fog, Grindelwald seems to be the one who cast the spell, like an Imperio, and everybody starts to move except him, and the Sea of Fog starts at the same time recovering everybody again except him. It looks like a cloudy wave that emanates from his wand." End quote. Now, watch this clip carefully at about 1 second into the image. Focus on Grindelwald's wand. Is everything that's happening in this image a result of some sort of wordless spell Grindelwald cast? That could explain a lot about the Crimes of Grindelwald. A couple more excerpts from Wal's comments. Quote, "Does that mean that he controls some people in this film? As we know, he is a manipulator. The Crimes of Grindelwald will be crimes based on relations between everybody. He will maybe abuse his powers controlling some persons, and he may even push them to crimes." Warner Brothers extract. "Lines are drawn as love and loyalty are tested, even among the truest friends and family in an increasingly divided wizarding world." I believe Wal has picked up a most tantalizing clue and hit on the essence of this image and what the title Crimes of Grindelwald probably means. However, Wal's excellent catch also got me watching that section over and over and over. And as I did so, I noticed one little glitch that has left me wondering if there might be something more there as well. Notice how the cast is arranged and where they are looking. We are led to believe that they are simply looking at us, the viewer. But what if that's a red herring? Before the disruption that causes them to look at each other, the possible spell Wal points out, could they all be watching something or someone off screen? But what exactly is it that causes them to look elsewhere? Watch this section very closely, right before the first second mark. I'm going to repeat it a couple of times. What I want you to focus on is Grindelwald's coat and posture. Notice the slight change? It's like his coat lightened and moved just a bit, and his posture shifted. Please note that this is immediately before the flick of the wand and the first ripple of wave, which seem to happen simultaneously. The questions I'd like to explore are, is that wave we see pulsing through the screen coming from an explosion off-screen to Grindelwald's right, where the first puff of smoke appears? If so, could this explosion be what blew his wand rather than him flicking a spell? And did Grindelwald magically transform immediately before that spell or explosion occurred? What if the explosion happens off stage, and because of where he's standing, it affects Grindelwald first? Then who or what is causing that explosion? And who are they all watching? Watch this scene again with this possibility of an off-screen person in mind. Notice how there is the barest hint of a shift in our view after the explosion, even before the smoke fills the room, as if the off-screen POV is now looking through warped glass. When I first thought about Grindelwald's shifting appearance, my initial guess was that perhaps he was impersonating someone again, or someone was impersonating him. We've often heard of the use of body doubles for people who are possible targets, but we've not yet seen a spell or potion in the magical world that lets you shift in and out of another person's body, as this example would need to be. The closest we have is of Mrs. Crouch and her son Barty taking polyjuice to impersonate each other to help him escape from prison. The more likely theory is that it's a shift in point of view from someone outside this lovely family portrait. In other words, the real subject of this image is that person off screen, whom all these characters seem to be staring at, and who is looking back at them as well. Perhaps that change in view, that almost through the looking glass sense from the time of the explosion, is because the observer's perspective has shifted. But who would this unknown person be? I have two thoughts: Skandare or Jessica Williams. Notice the way Claudia Kim's character stares at this unseen person, as if she's scared. Beside her, Credence is staring intently, almost totally unmoving. In fact, he's the only one who doesn't move at all, so intently focused on what he is observing. These are the two we know will be involved in the circus, so it makes sense that the person they watch so differently than the others, who seem merely curious, may be involved with the circus as well. I would also like to point out that the setting lends itself to a darkened circus tent. They could all be sitting on rough stands, and the way the light is shining on the back wall, bringing out patterns, could represent fading in spots, like canvas. If the observer is Skandare, it could indicate that the ringmaster may be on the unsavory side, as many of you have suspected. However, another possibility intrigues me greatly. In a prior video, I theorized that Jessica Williams would not only play an important character, which has since been confirmed, but that she may very well be Perenelle Flamel, the wife of Nicholas, and historically speaking, an alchemist in her own right and a woman of wealth. While I like the idea that they may all be looking at Jessica Williams' yet unnamed character, I'm not quite seeing how Perenelle Flamel would be part of the circus, except there is that purple heron thing. In the prior video, I showed a tweet from Rowling teasing Jessica that she should have sent a purple heron emoji, and I showed research that equated a purple heron with the phoenix, and theorized that Perenelle could either be an animagus who transforms into a purple heron, or that it would be her Patronus. If they are witnessing her transformation into a fiery phoenix, that would explain the smoke. Also, notice the color of Lita's dress, the only true spot of color in the image, besides the gold of Newt's vest. Dark purple. And the gold of Newt's vest hints at another alchemical possibility. As mentioned in the prior video, Perenelle was skilled in chrysopoeia, the art of transmuting metals into gold. Since that video released, I've caught a hint of this exact word in one of the newspapers designed by MinaLima. Look, here, from FB1, Wizard magics herself into Golden Eagle. Very, very interesting. Not only is there a connection to the alchemical transformation into gold, but also from human to animal, in particular a bird. If one could magic herself into an eagle, could Jessica shift into a purple heron, perhaps? Are they all witnessing an alchemy experiment that results in that explosion in smoke? Could Perenelle have transformed something into gold? Grindelwald definitely looks pleased with whatever he's seen, and I theorize that his interest in the Philosopher's Stone would come more for the gold to fund his war efforts rather than eternal life, like Voldy. A couple other reactions to note as well. I mentioned that look Dumbledore gives Grindelwald in the prior video. Now I have a name for it: suspicious. As many of you have pointed out, Dumbledore has some ability in legilimency. So does Queenie. Could that explain both their looks at Grindelwald? I like that much better than Queenie developing a romantic interest. Also, look at Newt. He looks intrigued. A woman transfiguring into a beast would definitely catch his attention, and possibly Tina's jealousy. One final possibility. Are our main characters grouped here like intriguing specimens to be studied, with the off-screen character being the observer? Alchemists were the scientists of their day, after all. Could Perenelle be manipulating perhaps even the master manipulator himself, Grindelwald? One more thought about Perenelle's link to this image. I mentioned earlier how she could be key to helping Credence heal from his obscurus. Now that we know Claudia Kim's character is also suffering from a blood curse that makes her transform into a beast, and we see her so closely tied to Credence, I think there may be a complex relationship developing between the three of them. Please note that I do not expect this image to be direct from the movie. We won't see all these people together in one place watching this mystery character. What I do think this image hints at, however, is that there is this one special character who all our main ones will revolve around, and that this image hints at their unique relationship not only with each other, but with the unseen one. As Heyman has said that the Crimes of Grindelwald is more of a thriller than FB1 was, I think this character will be the hub of the thriller plot. Whether she is Perenelle or someone else, I do believe that this person will be Jessica Williams, and is implied here in the offstage explosion and POV we are witnessing. I can't thank Wal enough for noticing this key detail and pointing it out for us to dissect. What do you think about Grindelwald casting a spell, or the possibility of an off-screen character? Please share your thoughts in the comments, and be sure to subscribe so you won't miss the next possible clue to the Crimes of Grindelwald. Also, don't forget to check out my Fantastic Secrets Behind Fantastic Beasts or A Writer's Guide to Harry Potter at Amazon or your local bookseller.